But looking at the money in their pocket, they still make poor financial choices. Consumer knowledge is not judgment formation, and because of that, their outcomes take a complete 180 turn. It requires that they feel the consequence. Every year, thousands of students in Singapore graduate with excellent results. And every year, the same question quietly follows them out the gate. Are they actually ready? I'm Ernest Tang. This is Beyond the Report Card. Let's go beyond. Imagine a student who explains compound interest. They name features of saving accounts easily. They describe exactly how budget works. But looking at the money in their pocket, they still make poor financial choices. They make highly impulsive, real-world decisions. If that's the case, the financial program that they have been put through has actually failed. It hasn't done its job yet. There is a profound, deep gap right here. And that sits between knowing financial terms and the demonstration of financial behavior. Most financial literacy curriculum optimizes for recall. We test them through worksheets. We see they score well during quizzes. But here's the challenge for schools these days. It needs to build character. What you build matters a lot. It matters more than content delivery. Consumer knowledge is not judgment formation. Those are two entirely different outcomes. They require unique program designs. So what measures the school's financial education? Is it measured by the student knowledge? Or honestly, how is it decided? Today, I want to share a framework. It has three distinct parts: teaching the pause, teaching consequences, teaching responsible choice. This entire model frames secondary school education. It changes how readiness is being built. The focus is on life preparation. At Leaven Academy, we partner with Singapore schools, and this partnership has spanned over 10 years, with my own time in education spanning about 2 decades. I have watched and conducted a number of financial literacy sessions myself. And if I were honest, a lot of these programs were executed really well. Yet it has done very little to change behavior. And I want to be clear, it is not because the instructors were weak. It's not that the slides were designed poorly. It is the design of the program that caused that problem. The experiences that it has done or created only surface knowledge. They were not designed for judgment. And this pattern repeats constantly in education. The assessment for schools is done via reflection forms for the enrichment programs that are being run. Students are expected to write down the correct answers, and the percentages does look great on paper. With the high percentage score, the project is deemed a success. But look outside the workshop environment. Let us begin looking at the real outcomes. That theoretical knowledge fails pretty much completely. It doesn't quite translate into action. And this exact illusion plays out everywhere. It happens in financial literacy workshops. It happens in student leadership programs. And it happens in public speaking courses. Students learn good theories very easily. They memorize the values of leadership quite well. But once the safety net of the school is being removed, they then default to the old habits. Programs that end that knowledge fail. They simply end way too early. So my encouragement to all is, let's stop looking at money knowledge only. Let us take a look at what students really do outside the classroom, in real life. So this video is for educators. This serves head of departments. It is addressed specifically to school leaders, principals, vice principals, and I encourage all of you to think more clearly. What should a school program produce? And this core shift is very simple. I didn't say easy, I said simple. We have to start treating financial education as a judgment formation. And this formation relies on 3 building blocks. These are specific developmental stages. First, we have to teach the student to pause. They need to pause before a decision occurs. Second, we have to allow them to experience real consequences. And these consequences need to be structured. Third, we have to train them for responsible choices. When that happens, their personal autonomy will increase because they are going to grow older. Our youths these days will need to make decisions and choices when they are unmonitored by their trusted adult. Because nobody is going to watch them all the time, and that is a fact. Let us look at design reality. Secondary schools can choose true formation and stop designing for information alone. So here is a simple test today. Let's see where the current curriculum actually stands. How is that curriculum executed? When a student is asked about recent spending, they need to describe a real decision that is made. Don't ask, what should they do? Ask, what was actually done? Ask, why was that decision made? Let us think about a typical elective course. Let us think about a financial literacy course. The trainer, the teacher delivers their lesson, and it's probably a budgeting lesson. The students define the budget perfectly. Worksheets are filled with flawless numbers, but wait 2 weeks. When the pocket money enters their pocket, their wallet, and they begin having the choices and autonomy to spend, does that behavior change? Did they stick to the budget that they created within the financial literacy workshop itself? I guess that's where the gap is. We don't really ask such questions, and it's honestly a bit difficult to monitor it. And because of that, the real transformation never really happens. So, my challenge to you is this: when your financial education session is being done, try to end it early. Build in a really small amount of time for a reflection window. Make it maybe just a 5-minute session. You might want to consider skipping the standardized quiz at the end to determine whether or not the program is successful. You can consider skipping the summary worksheet. Just give it to the students and replace that with one simple question. When did you face tough choices? Or what did you actually do when you face those tough choices? And look at the answer. Compare it with the curriculum. And the gap reveals the truth. That itself forms the most valuable feedback to help you decide what you can do next. So let's break it down. For block 1, we need to teach the pause. Secondary schools need to build this first. It is the capacity to halt. Students need to arrest their own momentum. Don't ask them to recite. They need to genuinely stop themselves from making that decision. The decision of spending money. By asking a question, what happens if I choose this? Impulse purchase in teenagers is very common. Peer pressure spending is massive. Those itself aren't knowledge problems. They are deep formation issues. Knowledge tells you spending is unwise. Formation, especially habit formation, produces true muscle memory. That creates the ability to stop. And in Singapore, this is extremely crucial. Why is that so? Digital wallets are very pervasive. Whip out the card, tap, and spend. Online platforms remove all kinds of spending friction. Physical cash is hardly used. Even I myself hardly use physical cash these days. And the peer group, it normalizes lifestyle inflation. Identity driven spending is deeply common. Older students buy to fit into the group they want to belong to. So, what do? We run specialized experiential workshops. We place students in simulations. And these scenarios feature high pressure situations. Sometimes there are highly time constrained environments that we want to put the students through, and this replicates their exact digital reality. Sometimes we mimic frantic online sales, and this scarcity triggers their emotional panic. I need to get this now. They feel forced to decide really quickly, and consequently, the initial choices are quite disastrous. They run out of resources rapidly, and they face immediate failures. But this simulation continues onward. A few rounds in, changes can happen. And I noticed something quite fascinating. There is usually a small number of people who would take charge. Sometimes they will say, hang on, wait, let's think about this. And this pause causes the group to hang back and make better decisions. This is done by making more calculated moves in what they are going to do in that high pressured environment. And because of that, their outcomes take a complete 180 turn. Before we go further, if you're finding this very useful, do hit the like and subscribe button down below. I put out content like this every week to help people like you, school leaders, educators, and parents who are very serious about building these skills, these knowledge, and these attitudes for the next generation. It helps more people like you in your position to find the work that I do. Some of you might rightly ask, does this get covered in the standard financial literacy? It does, the textbook theory does exist, but knowing it and doing it are two completely different things, and there is a need to insert it within a framework, within a workshop setting itself, to make the learning very real. So let us now look at block number 2. We need to teach the consequence. Let us stop using abstract classroom warnings. Let us stop telling our kids, stop doing this because that will happen. Let us stop saying bad choices will hurt later, because that never creates the maturity that the students and the youth of the future needs. Telling them about the consequences is not going to cut it anymore, and that is dangerous. The true maturity requires that they feel the consequence. And this can be engineered by the students holding on to finite resources, allowing them to decide independently how to utilize those resources. And the time is when they're in secondary school. It is perfect to introduce this particular concept and this particular lived experience. The reason is the stakes are low. And the environment within the school is profoundly safe. That is where they can feel or go through failure without living the consequences of it at scale when they are much older. And this is mimicked with our Leaven learning cycle, and consequence is part of that entire learning experience. Decisions are made, and they feel the outcomes of that decision. Here are the parts. They go through concrete experiences first. That experience directs them to the reflection. They got to think about what they had just gone through. The reflection develops a personal insight into their own selves. That insight ultimately helps them to rewrite the behavior if they choose that it is a necessary rewrite. And this comes about because we run these exercises, these experiences, by limiting certain resources and allowing them to experience that consequence. When there are some mismanagement of resource allocation done, they feel that, and that allows the learning to be really real for them. Because the students realize their own decision does carry weight. And because of that, the conversation changes entirely. It stops being a casual game because there is real stakes, and the stakes itself allows them, forces them, causes them to engage in strategic discussions for the group activities. As a result, they begin to develop long-term thinking as compared to the here and now. Textbook reading will never compare to such an experience that can be developed for the students. We are now at the final block. We got to teach responsible choice now. The reason is the ultimate test comes later on. It doesn't happen in a classroom. They don't sit for an examination. It happens when the freedom that they get as they age, as they grow older, as they physically mature increases. Their personal choice load intensifies with age because suddenly no one is really watching what they are doing. In the classroom, there are correct answers. Everything in the classroom is highly structured. But the real world differs. It is a whole new world. It is largely unstructured. And when teenagers leave the structured classroom, they experience something closer to the real world out there. When they get older in the polytechnic, in the ITE, in the junior colleges, they begin to manage larger sums of money. That is when peer pressure intensifies, expectations on them increases, their lifestyle would also match those of their peers. And even more, nowadays with technology, they would have to navigate all these digital options, which I never had as a teenager myself. What is more, parents will then begin to let go of them as they should. But if they don't have a particular framework to learn how to use it properly, those decisions could magnify to greater undesirable outcomes. So responsible choice is a muscle. We have to condition it at the secondary school age through repeated steps. Hopefully, they are able to make use of those, and it requires time to form because of the amount of repetition it requires. Secondary school is the gateway, it is the critical window to form all of these habits. I urge educators to not wait for that window to pass and allow this to form. Don't wait for adulthood. Because negative habits lock in early. When those negative habits are locked in, the real world costs can be quite devastating. Therefore, the shift focus is towards content delivery. It has to shift away from content delivery. We have to target true judgment formation instead. We should stop teaching about money. We should use money for deeper engagement in order to build strong student character now. That is used to cultivate foresight. That is used to cultivate self-discipline. So if you're an educator or a school leader, I want you to bring this shift into your school. That is by taking 3 practical steps. Step 1, audit the outcomes. Have a look at the existing financial literacy sessions and ask ourselves an honest question. Is it designed for information delivery, or is it designed to form judgment? Students need to face choice pressure. Whatever they do has to carry some felt consequences. Otherwise, the design is very information heavy and it doesn't meet the requirement of helping them to form judgment. Step 2, insert formation moments. There is no need to rewrite the syllabus, you just got to use an existing classroom session. Introduce a tactical constraint. Force a trade-off scenario and follow it up with authentic debrief by not asking what did they learn, but asking what was noticed instead. How was the choice made? That answer reveals a lot. Step 3, ask behavioral questions. Wait around 3 weeks after the program is conducted and track by using a small sample size of students. Examine their real-world habits. Does the spending pattern shift visibly? Because if memory is only measured, then the only change can happen will be the delivery of that content. But if there is a question that seeks a behavioral change, that itself shifts the formation of those judgments. I hope this encourages all of my fellow educators out there to rethink and review the life readiness programs that you have put in so much hard work in place for the benefit of all your students. If you want a clearer picture of what financial maturity actually looks like in students and how to build a program that develops that maturity, I put together a free resource. It is going to help you move from awareness to a more structured approach. The link to that free resource is found in the description down below. So if this video resonates with you, let us connect immediately. Because Leaven Academy partners with institutions, schools such as you that has a deep desire to help uplift and prepare the students for life. What we do is we design deep experiential programs for the students in order to build genuine youth maturity. So if you think that we are a right fit, you might want to book a consultation right now by going over to our website. The website is www.leavenacademy.com, and you can see it right at the bottom. You can go over to the same website but add a /contact to that. Or you can email me at ernest@leavenacademy.com. I am looking forward to having that discussion with you to meet the needs of your students in order to help them thrive beyond the exams, beyond the report card. I want to thank each and every single one of you for listening today, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.